Welcome to ACPAC CRM 5.7 webinar series. What I'd like to discuss today is something in ACPAC CRM that we call key attribute profiling. And what that is that's the ability to survey or do questionnaires or create outbound calls with particular pieces of information that you want to capture for users in your system. So what I'd first like to do here is log in as the administrator. And let's actually go over key attributes in my administration section. I'm going to select administration, advanced customization, and you can see here in the upper left-hand corner key attributes. What you're seeing now is a categorization tree of our key attributes. So right now you can see it's highlighted at all categories. If I highlight the installed software category, you can see to the right where we have a survey that's already been designed. What is your existing enterprise system? Are you using other enterprise system, existing enterprise number of users, etc.? So you can see this was an installed software survey to try and find out from prospective clients what software they're using, how many users of each. Right? The example I'm going to use today is quite simply, we're going to do a follow-up for a trade show. So we're going to ask some questions of the prospects that registered at our booth for the trade show, a quick follow-up, and actually do a little digging and prospecting so we can get the opportunities that are most likely to close out to our sales staff. Okay? So the first thing I would like to do is put the category groups and just give you a quick explanation of what that is. We've got 3 different category groups. Okay? And we're going to focus on call handling category groups. And what that is that's our ability to attach this survey to outbound calls with our outbound call manager. So we'll go back to that as soon as I create the survey. Okay? Categories we've already looked at, and key attribute lists. And what key attribute lists are, quite simply, is the data that we want to capture or the answers to those questions we have. So that brings up an excellent point. Some thought needs to be put into this. So what I have designed really quickly is just in a spreadsheet the actual question I want to ask and the answers. And I list that out. And I would keep this as an ongoing spreadsheet so you can maintain your key attributes, and it makes it much easier to input the data. Okay? So tab back here to my install. So what we want to do is we want to add some answers to the list. Okay? So we're going to click add here. Oops, we need to put a name in first. And we need to name it, since we have a yes, no, maybe already. Let's take a look. Yes, no, maybe. You can see that here, and these are the options. We don't need to reinvent that wheel, do we? It already exists. So we'll start with this. Number 2 question. Time waiting, we'll call it. We're going to add a new list. And at this point, we want to put our options in. Okay? So we're going to, I didn't wait any time. And add that. You can see we're adding a translation, which is the eye candy or what the user sees, and an actual code for behind the scenes, scripting, etc. 1 to 5 minutes. And we'll just call that 1 to 5. Okay. So you can see, pretty straightforward, 6 to 10 minutes. We'll change that to 6 to 10. Add that new. More than 10 minutes. Add that in. And then basically give them an option for, you know what, I waited too long regardless of how long it was in time. Okay. So we have created, by saving this, okay, our time waiting responses. Okay, pretty straightforward. Now let's see any others on our list here. Yes, no, we already have. Yes, no, we already have. Yes, no, we already have. What products are you most interested in? So let's add this one in real quick. trade show product interest. Okay, so we're going to add a new list for that also. Handheld devices. Wireless. Routers. Now again, folks, what you really need to think about here is that this applies to any survey that you're going to provide. Okay, I'm just giving an example here of a technology company. Let's talk computers. But you need to determine how this would apply to your particular industry. What types of questions do you want to extract from your clients to determine if they are ready to buy, or if they were happy with your service, or for what other reasons you might survey them. You know, customer service surveys following up after service with a client is very important. Okay, so we've added the two, time waiting and trade show, parts of interest, and that's all we really need. You can see here all the others are yes, no, or maybe. Okay? So we will go back to our categories. Now, within the all categories list, what we want to do is add a new category. Okay? So I'm going to name the category down here in the lower right-hand corner, Trade Show Surveys. We may do multiple different types of trade shows. Okay? We will leave that as a parent category. In other words, we don't put any questions in this particular category. And click Add. And you can see that adds it here. Now, within that category of trade show surveys, we're going to do one specifically for a computer division. Okay? So computer trade shows. And you know what? We are going to put data inside of those. Now, we have two options. Multiple instance data category means I may ask or call the same customer 3, 4, 5, 6 multiple times and ask them the same question. So each time I want to maintain the data. If I'm going to only call them and ask them once, I make that a single instance data category. Okay? Just for an example, we'll put this as a multiple instance. Okay? And let's add that. So you can see here now within our trade show surveys, it's added the computer trade show. Now let's actually highlight computer trade show and edit the fields. So what are we doing here? So now we're putting together our questionnaire. So let's go back to the top. Was the trade show valuable for you? You can abbreviate if you want or spell them all the way out. The field type is going to be a selection. And then we're going to actually leave that on our first line, in other words, where it resides in the survey or on the screen itself. And we're going to use yes, no, maybe. Okay? And we're going to add that. And you see it adds it to the left here. All right? So let's go back and take a look at our second one. And let's create that. Amount of time waiting. Okay, that is also a selection or drop-down list. And time waiting is that new set of attributes that we added. And we're going to add that, but you know what? We're going to put that on the same line. So what that means is that will sit next to our original list add on the screen. Okay? Was the booth staff courteous? That's a selection, and we'll give them a yes, no, maybe. Now again, you don't have to put maybe in there. We'll move this to a new line and add that. Okay. Were they knowledgeable? Okay, and everything else, except we'll move it next to this one, is the same. Did you request follow-up contact? can see this goes very fast once you get the hang of it. And what products are you most interested in? We know that on the same line, but we have a trade show products. Okay? And we're going to save that off. So now you can see on the right-hand side, we've got our list of questions for that computer trade show. Okay? And that's it. We need to do one other thing. That is go to the category groups. Okay? And why is that? Again, general category groups and activity category groups put the key attributes actually in the company summary record. So if I go to a company, there's going to be a tab there that says key attributes. The call handling category, which I want to use here, will actually put the key attributes in our call manager. And I'll show you that in just a minute. So I'm going to click New, and I'm simply going to highlight my computer trade show, and we're going to do trade show follow-up. Actually, we'll name it computer trade show follow-up. Okay. I can put a description in there, and then I simply need to highlight that key attribute and click Add, and it moves it over for me. And now I should look at my list of call handling category groups, and you can see computer trade show follow-up is there. I can always go in and edit it. All right? So we have now created our key attributes for follow-up. Now let's put that into application as far as our marketing manager now. So in the main menu here, you can see my marketing automation button. And of course, our marketing campaigns. And we're going to put this into the time and expense marketing campaign. So now again, we've gone to a trade show, we've paid for that trade show, and we want to follow up with those people that registered in that trade show and drill down, make sure our people were courteous, make sure they got the information they needed, find out if they're a qualified lead to buy our products or services. So the big picture marketing campaign is broken out into waves or phases, and we're making our customers aware of our new products, so we're going to drill down to that phase of the overall marketing campaign. And I'm going to create a new wave activity here. I'm going to call it computer trade show follow-up. And the type of marketing activity is an outbound call. Okay. Follow up with registered trade show attendees. All right. A starting date, you can apply an ending date. An activity budget, the cost of the list maybe, or whatever number you want to put there. Okay. I can assign these calls, which I'm creating right now, to a whole team or to individuals. And let's show you what else. Okay. I have some room for scripting here. So whoever we call in the organization, what I can do is actually pull field information to populate my script with whoever comes up on my list. Hello, may I speak with John Smith? And this is after the list is created. Thank you for taking my call, John. Make sure you spell these right. Do you have a moment to discuss our recent trade show? Okay. So below that, you can see I can assign this to particular sales users if I like. I can assign it to Susan May. I can assign it to Peter Johnson or John Finch. And remember, the direct sales team also has access to this information. The daily call target, we'll say 5 calls a day. I don't want to overwhelm my staff. And then most importantly here, we're going to create a communication in the customer file. This is a follow-up with the trade show attendees. Okay. So why is this important? Well, it's important because, remember, everyone in our organization needs to know why these phone calls are being made all of a sudden. So it's very important that we put that information in there. And then the key, category group. Does that sound familiar? Well, it should. We have computer trade show follow-up. So that is our key attribute. Those are our questions that we set up. And I'm going to click Save. Okay? So in these 10 minutes we've spent together, we've not only created the entire survey, but we've now created a marketing activity. A marketing activity that will track budget versus cost analysis on sales opportunities. It'll also tell us how many communications it's taking us to close particular business, etc. And this is where marketing automation and sales automation and customer care really tie together with Backpack CRM. Okay? The next thing we need to do is attach a call list to this. So in the example of the trade show, we would upload a list of registrants from that trade show. Sometimes you have card swipers, etc. They give you a spreadsheet. You upload that with data upload utility. And you would simply assign that list, whatever you chose to call it, to that specific wave activity. Okay? And now what it's doing is taking everyone on that list and creating a phone call for them. Alright? Very important. You can also reuse these wave activities in the key attributes involved. So I can always go in, refresh the call list to a different list or a new list, and save it off. And it sets us a whole new set of phone calls, a whole new set of key attributes to view. Okay? So let's log off and actually log in as Susan May and see what this looks like from a user's perspective. Okay? You can see across the top here, I don't have a calendar full of calls, do I? So what seems to be missing? Let's go to my Preferences tab. Okay? And you'll notice here there's a key question. Show outbound calls in my CRM. So if I turn that on, you can see now the outbound call list tab has been added. Okay? So why do we do this? Why do we separate out the outbound call manager from the calendar? Well, quite simply, we may want to take 10, 12, 15 calls a day to follow up with the trade show. Do I really want my users' calendars being cluttered with all of that information? Okay? No. Not if they can use an outbound call manager. So if I click on the outbound call manager, you'll notice here we have the marketing follow-up calls, computer trade show follow-up. Then let's actually click on that and take a look here. Okay? Basically what it's saying is that, hey, here's the communication. This is the follow-up with registered trade show attendees and the specific trade show we were referring to. And then in the upper right-hand corner it says get a call. So I want to get a call. And what does it do? It grabs the first person off my list and it uses my scripting. Hello, may I speak with Janet Andrews? It gives me some details about what Janet is, her title, etc. You can also see in the tabs across the top all of the information that I can review about Janet before we speak. A summary of all the communications with that company or organization she works for. A summary of the individual. If I don't get a hold of Janet, I can create a new person if they're willing to talk to us in the organization on the fly. The Quick Look tab actually shows me the last 5 communications we've had as far as cases, communications, and opportunities with Janet. I can create a new lead. I can record a new sales opportunity right here on the fly without ever leaving this screen. Let's say we actually got through to Janet. So I have a button over here that says got through, and I click that. So I have now gotten through, and my second part of my scripting comes in. Thank you for taking my call, Janet. Do you have a moment to discuss our recent trade show? And then voila. Remember these questions? Was the trade show valuable? Was my staff courteous? Did you request follow-up? How long did you wait? Okay, very familiar questions, aren't they? So why is this pertinent information? Well, it's pertinent information because we're capturing it in the system to drill down on the people most likely to close business. Another nice question here would be what? Are you ready to replace your existing wireless products in the next 90 days? And let's finish this call. So if I take you back to the Marketing Automation tab and our List Manager, okay, and we actually go in to create a new list. Okay. So what does that mean? That's abbreviated created, of course. I'm going to follow up. This is our second follow-up on this particular trade show. Without actually creating the list, I want to show you something here. Add key attribute data to this list. So we went to a trade show. We got a list of 100 people. We uploaded them into our system. We created a follow-up call, all less than 10 minutes. We did our due diligence. We did our follow-up calls. We captured all of that data. We asked pertinent questions. And now we're going to regenerate the list. All the people that attended this trade show that were interested in wireless devices that are ready to replace their products in the next 90 days. How can we do that? Because we add the key attributes to the list. Then what do we do with those remaining 35 people or 3,500 people? Well, we create opportunities right away for our sales staff to contact these folks. Why? Because they are most likely to purchase our products and services over the next 90 days. I hope you've enjoyed this little overview of ACPAC CRM Key Attribute Profiling and how it ties into marketing automation. I hope you join us on future